Welcome to Eufaula Vapor.
Save thousands of dollars and quit smoking at Eufaula Vapor in the Sable Ridge Center on 431 South. Eufaula Vapor, a safe way to stop smoking. Try it for free at Eufaula Vapor.
Morning, Mark, and good morning, Coach Moore.
Good morning.
You got a smile. I wonder why.
It went well.
It went well, real well. Got any comments just to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, the kids played well. Probably better than I expected. I said I have high expectations, but those were we got out to a fast start. It was 21-0 before the end of the first quarter, and boy, you couldn't have scripted it better.
When you look at the game and you look at the two teams, both teams getting ready at the same time on the field. When they come off the field and everybody comes back on, the Tigers are bouncing. I mean, they're ready to play football.
Yeah, the kids were excited. It's been a long spring. 3 weeks of spring practice. We kind of broke it up into 3 weeks for those 10 days, and they were ready to play somebody else. And I was so hopeful to get the game in. I didn't know, about 6 o'clock if we'd be able to do that, but the weather cooperated, and we got it in. And I'm really glad that we did. The kids played hard. And like I keep saying, I asked for energy and effort, and they gave it, gave both of them.
We couldn't have asked for really much better playing conditions. Field was a little slippery, and there was a couple of slips out there, but nothing serious.
No, I thought ball security was really good, surprisingly, because we haven't practiced in any elements like that. And then as far as traction, our kids weren't slipping and falling. In the backs we're making a bunch of cuts and held on good. So I was excited. The field did hold up well. This field's in great shape, and it held up fine. It soaked up a lot of the rain. It was soggy by the end of the game, especially on the sidelines, but it held up well. And the kids, I always tell them we can only control what we can control. We can't control elements. We're not going to talk about heat, cold, wet. We're not going to talk about any of those things. And they didn't. They didn't say a word. They didn't say anything about I'm having a hard time holding on to the football. They didn't say anything about I'm having a hard time with traction or anything. They just played in and dealt with it.
When you look at the game, what is the biggest plus you saw in the Tigers you didn't see in the scrimmage?
I guess just execution was really good. We didn't turn it over any with our ones. That's very surprising at this point. Been here, 10 practice days or 9 days going into that. And we threw an interception in the scrimmage, but our ball security was at a premium. That's first. We didn't have any negative plays, maybe one or two. And that was really good because if you don't turn it over and you don't have a bunch of negative plays on offense, you're going to be really good. And then defensively, in the scrimmage, the first play of the scrimmage, we gave up a 70-yard touchdown. And in the game, we made Northview work. Now, they moved the ball a little bit on us, but we also stood in and got some. We created 2 turnovers. There were no real big plays as far as getting over the top of us for touchdowns. They had to work. Again, they did move it. But we held on there in the red zone a good bit. We forced some. We didn't let them convert any fourth downs. That was really big. And so as far as that was concerned, we fixed those issues. And so I was excited about that part.
I know in talking with the fans afterwards, they were excited. They were excited about what they had seen. It was great seeing the fans, come out. Now, they didn't get there right at the start of the game because it had been raining hard.
Yeah.
But as the first quarter went on, they began to pour in.
Yeah, our crowd was really good. I knew that the rain would affect us a little bit. I expected it to be a little bit bigger and even maybe fill it up. But again, with the elements as they were, people came out and supported us. We made some money. We sold some concession stuff, and that was good. That's going to be helpful for us going forward. But the fans were excited after the game. A lot of people I talked to were excited, but it had to do with the kids. I mean, the kids played well. I mean, they did it. It has nothing to do with us. They did this, and we had some guys show up that I really didn't know what to expect from them. Some guys that hadn't been in those roles. Our starting running back, Jay Johnson, was out. He had a little MCL sprain, and we held him out. But then we had two other running backs step up and play really, really well. Both of those guys went over 100 yards. Jawan Wiggum and Thomas Jackson both went over 100 yards rushing. And so that was really exciting that we had some guys step up, and some people put some stuff on film that I didn't really expect from them.
Coach, in the we had talked about this right at the beginning of spring practice, that defense obviously is ahead of your offense, but boy, your offense looked like it was clicking great the other night. Is it amazing even to you how far they've come in just 10 practices?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to say that I expected us to score 41 points in 3 quarters and have 530 yards of offense in 3 quarters and 418 yards rushing, and Justin Warren to be as efficient as he was throwing the football, and no, I can't say that I expected that. Again, I always say I have really high expectations, but being realistic, I didn't expect that. But again, kids surprise you sometimes in what they're totally bought in. Like I said before, they're excited to play in our system. They're excited to get out there and put it in front of a crowd. The way that we do things, every receiver that we had, every starter got a catch. Every running back that we had got a carry. So when you do that and you spread the ball around, that may be and I'm not exaggerating here either, maybe a dozen people touch the football. When you have that many people touching the ball, then everybody's happy. You can say I'm a team guy, but if I go out there and block for 60 plays as a receiver and never touch it, at some point that's going to get old. And so they're excited about what we're doing. But we still made mistakes, Really, the two we scored on every drive but 2 with our ones. The 2 drives were penalty-ridden drives. One, and I talked with Justin. Justin missed a wheel route that he'd like to have back there in the end zone to Torrey Terry. But then at the same time, he came back the next series and threw a touchdown. So we had some things that went really well. We got a lot of stuff to clean up. But for the most part, I was really, really excited about what we did. We have some playmakers on offense. There were some guys that can really run. I thought our offensive line played well, again, exceeding expectations even from me. James Walker and Kyle Farmer and those guys were mashing people up front. Sidney Garner, Katie Hobdy, Chris Glover, Cal Aites, those guys really played. Jaquan Jones, those guys played great. And, there's some things that they've got to do better, but for the most part, we won the line of scrimmage. We made some plays. Our backs made some plays in space. Everybody touched the football. Our quarterback was efficient. We didn't turn it over. We didn't make negative plays. When you do all those things, you give yourself a chance. Again, there are things we got to do a lot better, and we're really limited right now on what we're doing offensively. We're not doing much at all. My call sheet looks really, really small. Matter of fact, I put it in my back pocket for most of the game because it's just limited, in what we're trying to do right now. But we'll expand that and grow and try and create some matchup issues for defense as we go forward. But we wanted to be efficient, not overload the kids early, and I think we did that. I think it showed Friday.
Let's talk about one thing, just kind of to the other side. This was not a sloppy team that we were up against.
No, man, when they got off the bus, I watched them get off the bus, and you know how it is. You always take a first impression, and they really look good, and they're going to be good. That's going to be a good football team. I think we kind of stunned them a little bit early, but they have some playmakers. I think they'll be a 6A playoff team. Again, last year they really made some improvements, and I expect them to build on that this year too. Coach Stewart does a really good job. I know a lot of as the coaches were on the field, I got to see. I didn't know that a lot of those guys were there. I know a lot of the people on their staff, and they're great coaches. Some have head coaching experience. One even interned for me when I was at Opelika as a history teacher. So I know a lot of those guys, and they're going to do a good job. And they got a good-looking quarterback. They've got a big defensive tackle, defensive end guy that I think is an SEC guy. But our kids got after him, and like I said, I think we won the line of scrimmage. But that will be a good football team going forward that we beat. So I was excited about that part too.
The basic thing that I saw from up in the box was that they just weren't intimidated. They came out to play football, and they were going to play football for Eufaula.
Yeah, and I always say this, and this may be kind of old school, but I always say you're either the hammer or the nail. Either you do the hitting or you take it. And I said, we can go out. My pregame talk was we can go out and feel this thing out. figure out what Northview's all about, kind of take it easy at the beginning, or we can go out and throw the first punch and just see what happens. And obviously we scored on play 2 offensively, a 70-yard play, and Thomas Jackson, we popped one right up the middle, but it had to do with the front. The front gave him some space right there to run through, and so we didn't sit back, and I was excited about that because we've had an extremely physical spring, almost to a point where I was wanting to pull back a little bit, but I knew that we would benefit from how physical we were, and it showed. We were physical Friday, and what that's going to mean is going forward, maybe we can pull back a little bit and fall, knowing that we're going to put a physical group out there and not beat each other up, because I was concerned that we might hurt each other a little bit as hard as we did play and as hard as we went against each other. But that was exciting that we were able to grow from that. We stayed relatively injury-free. Friday night we were okay. Everybody was okay. We had a twisted ankle, nothing major. So in the summer I expect this to be full go.
I expected to hear the practice little whistle thing that goes off ever so often. That team was just really accustomed to running and working.
Yeah, we said that, again, energy and effort's been everything. How we run on and off the field was big. How the body language that we carry ourselves with was really big. And, one thing that I saw, I probably should have said this earlier, but what I really took away from it mostly was how we pull for each other. Now we're an offense and a defensive unit. We're not crossing guys over right now. And as I said a couple weeks ago, I think we have enough kids that we don't have to do that. I think, again, that showed Friday, and we stayed relatively fresh through the game. But the first touchdown, you could see it from the wide angle, Ron, that you did. I cut that up, and we watched that film, and you could see kids, when Thomas busted that first run, they're sprinting down the sideline with it. Matter of fact, a kid pulled my headset and my hat and everything off of me. He about ran me over there on the sideline. But that's what you want. When you have them playing together, they were jacked the whole game, and it was kind of weird, and it doesn't have a lot to do with me. It just tells the team unity. The kids were coming up and hugging me during the first quarter of the game because, again, it felt different. The atmosphere felt great. It felt right, and what it showed was, all that hard work and everything that we've been preaching, when it does pay off, when you play, it's so rewarding, and it was so exciting to see them do that. And I was having to hold them out, like, the game, relax now, it's not over, it's 21-0, but relax. And, but it was exciting. They were just excited that they had bought in and that it had paid off.
What about Justin? They always say quarterback is the coach on the field. How do you think he ran things the other night?
The most exciting thing that I got out of Justin was, he made the mistake and missed the guy for the touchdown, and he was down about it, and he was frustrated with himself, but he didn't let it eat at him. And what he did was, so just to set the scenario, we got the ball first in the third quarter, and we're up 31-7 at halftime, and I challenged the kids I said, we're going to see a lot about how we respond and what kind of program that we're going to have based on how we start this third quarter. We're going to go out there and slop around and allow Northview to get back in the game and kind of just sit on this lead, or we can go and grow from it and expand on the lead and all that kind of stuff. And we drove it down the field. We got to maybe the 15 or 20, around that. We're on the left hash, and we ran a little post wheel route, and we had the fullback wide open. And Justin, like quarterbacks do, and I've been guilty of it too, he's so open, I don't want to miss him, and he underthrows it. Mm-hmm. And but Justin sprints off the field. We don't get it. We have to kick the field goal. Okay, and he sprints off the field, and I rallied the team up, and I wasn't very happy offensively about what we just did. And Justin got in there and kind of took over, honestly. I was talking to him, and he got in and started apologizing, and so I let him say his apologies. Guys, that was on me. I'm sorry about that. And then I said, move on from it, and he did. And he goes back out the next series, and he throws a touchdown to kind of seal the game up. And then we felt good. That made it 41 to I think 14 or 7 around that. And so it kind of sealed the game up. But it showed his leadership maturity, that he was down, but he wasn't so far down that he couldn't recover. he went right back out and just fixed it. He didn't dwell on the issue, but his leadership was incredible. He was physical when he ran the football. I don't know if you saw the reverse to Purswell when we scored down the sideline, but Justin pancaked the defensive end. He knocked him completely down because I'm not one of those people, and again, being a quarterback's coach for a long time, I'm not one of those people that wants the quarterback to constantly dodge the physicality of the game or get out of the way. He didn't do that. He knocked the guy down completely. He had one of the leading roles in blocking on that reverse, and boy, that was really exciting. So to say that he exceeded my expectations would be an understatement. He was really, really good, and there were some things he's got to fix too. But as far as how he led the team and how he worked, I was really excited about that.
One of the things that happened yesterday in several conversations, from Sarge on down, with people who were at the game, is that this team effort was so evident in the team. We've got some standouts, but on the other hand, if you have standouts and don't have a team, the standouts can't do anything.
Yeah, we have a lot of kids that are filling roles for us, and I'm one of those almost to a fault that I tell them what their role is, so, and I try not to, if they're going to be a scout team guy for their career, I try not to just say, you'll never play or anything like that. That's not what I tell them, but I want to make sure that they understand what their role is and how they're going to help us win. And we have a lot of guys that are doing that. Now, at the same time, we're playing a lot of kids. Again, when you're playing an offensive and defensive group, you already have 22 guys. And then we're also subbing guys. We're probably playing almost 40 people. Again, I just said a dozen people got the ball offensively. Defensively, Coach Mock and Coach Black and all those guys, they're playing a lot of different people. I looked out there second quarter, and they've got some fresh bodies going out there. They're playing people situationally. And when you do that and you give people roles, then they tend to pull for each other. They're excited about practicing and working, and that's something that those guys, especially defensively, did a really good job of subbing guys in, keeping guys fresh, but at the same time keeping them invested in the game and keeping those guys excited on the sideline, because you never know, when you're going to be called to sprint out there and play the next play, and so it keeps people aware of the situations and how the game is going. And so I thought Coach Mock and those guys did very well defensively doing that.
When you look at the way the game was played, the basic function of it, the one thing that surprised me is here was Northview, a bigger school, and we had more players on the field from the way it looked.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a blessing really for us. Is that we do have some good players, and we do have. Coach Black, I'll steal it from Coach Blackman at Oak Lake. He always says that we got to get to the standard. We don't have starters, we have standards, which means that basically, if we have 60 guys that can play, we'll play all 60. We'll find a way to play those guys if they're to the standard that we can win with those guys at this level of football, because this is a very good level of football. Whether you're 5A, 6A, 7A, especially in the South, the football is really, really good. I mean, there were players all over that field. There were college coaches here. Each of us have, in my opinion, at least a handful of college players on the team and then on the field at the same time. So the challenge is there, But yeah, we ran out a lot of kids that could play. And again, that doesn't have to do with me. I'm blessed to have those kind of kids, and our staff is blessed to have kids that can play. But again, they were productive, and they did a good job.
Well, sure good to see it. It's an enjoyable game.
Right.
Kyle, you got anything else?
Well, have you counted down, exactly how long it is till the season opener?
I haven't counted it out. It was kind of a exhale type moment after the game. I got in here with the coaches and we just sat down, and it was like, man, this has been a whirlwind for 5 weeks. And
great way to go into the summer, isn't it?
Oh, man, the momentum of spring. Gosh, we at Opelika, we were blessed that we won a lot of those spring games. And so it kind of helped us get kids to early 6 a.m. workouts in the summer and those kind of things. Because when you lose one, it is tough. It's deflating to go 9 tough days and then lose. But yeah, I thought that as far as the momentum right now, and we talked about it last week, the honeymoon kind of effect has been there, how excited people are. But then to go out and win, I said, I don't care if we win 3-0. Mm-hmm. You know, I really want to win. But then to be explosive on offense, and then really we hadn't talked a lot about our defensive football team. They played really well too. Again, they made some mistakes, but they were physical. Boy, they were physical. There was some licks being passed out there. The guys that we really needed to step up and play well did. And so, yeah, defensively, they did a lot and were huge. They created 2 turnovers, one that got us to, I think, the 4, and then we ran it in to make it 21-0 like a couple plays later. That was huge swing of momentum. And they got some big stops, too. Big stops. I think the turning point, and I'll get back to the momentum thing, but the turning point of the game to me was it's 21-7. We didn't punt it very well, and I think they got it at like our 30, and they're driving to make it 21-14, and our defense stands up and holds them on 4th down, and we get the ball back and we go and score to make it 28-7. That's a 14-point swing right there. Now we're talking 21-14, and then we switched it to 28-7 just because of a defensive stop. So again, I can't say enough about Coach Mock, Coach Reagan, Coach Henry, Coach Black, all those guys coaching defense, Coach Russell, that did a great job of getting our kids ready to play in a really a tough situation. Offensively, we were in a better situation coaching-wise. We had more coaches, and especially experienced coaches, than they did on the defensive side, and those guys did a tremendous job. But yeah, Kyle, as far as momentum into the summer, I mean, we can say one thing, but to go out there and put it on the field and to beat a quality opponent like Northview, to have fans in the stands, it will help us so much going into this summer.
Not just your coaches, but obviously the players got to be jacked up over this.
I'm ready to see them today.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see them this afternoon and to get around them. And again, I want to ride the wave of momentum. I don't want to say, hey, we didn't do a lot of things well. Yes, we want to go and correct some things, but shoot, man, let's stay positive right here. Because again, our hard work is paying off. And again, we have a lot of stuff to get right and to do better, but right now that feeling is there and the momentum is there, and we need to ride that into the fall until we play Russell County.
Mm-hmm. Looking ahead to the summer, I know that June the 1st is the next day in this cycle. Explain to us what happens on June the 1st.
Yeah, our kids are coming in at 6 a.m. We'll bring everybody in at 6. I'm an early morning person. And another thing, I think a lot of our kids work. Talked to some mamas, and they said, "Well, Coach, my son works also." I said, "Fine, we'll be done by 8:30 or 9. He's got all day. He can work from 9 to 9 if he wants to. But he's going to be here at 6." And we'll bring everybody in, and what we'll do is the offense will lift first with our new strength and conditioning coach, Brandon Johnson, that'll be here. Coach Mock and those guys will take, and we're looking for a few more hires on defense. We'll take those guys out to the field. They'll go through group work from 6 to about 6:45. We'll switch, and defense will come in and lift. We'll go out to the field and do offensive group work while the defense is lifting, and then we'll meet on the field probably around 7:45 or 8, and we'll do mixed group stuff, which is pass pro and scale, and we'll throw against the defense, and we're going to practice. We obviously can't use pads or anything. We're going to stay within the guidelines of the Athletic Association, but we're gonna use this time. This is going to be such a slow down and teach time because we've not been able to do that. We're so far from the details of the game right now that as a coach, it's sickening to look at it and say, well, this guy didn't step with the right foot, and he didn't put his helmet where exactly I wanted on the defensive lineman, and those kind of things offensively. But we'll have time to slow down and really teach this summer, and we're going to take advantage of that. And so what we'll do is we'll go through the month of June working out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. We'll do passing game and those kind of things on Wednesday. So we're coming in Monday through Thursday at 6 a.m. every day. Ninth graders included. They'll come in at the same time and work out with the varsity. But then in July, we'll get into more of our competition days, our play dates as they're called. What I like to do is we share so many athletes that baseball and basketball will do a lot of their play dates in June. and so they'll go off and play their 4 dates. And so we try and give them the month of June, and then July football really picks up. We're going to go July 9th and 10th to Enterprise, stay the night in Enterprise, and do an OTA with Coach Faulkner and those guys at Enterprise, which run a top-notch program, and it's really clean, and they really know how to do that. We did that at Opelika. We went to Enterprise for a couple of years, and Rush Probst at Colquitt was down there, and maybe we can get some of those teams there too. But right now it's just us and Enterprise. July the 16th, we're going to go to a FCA 7-on-7 at Opelika, drive up there and compete with those guys, and that'll be good for our kids. And then we're hoping to get maybe one more date, maybe with Northview, to do another OTA. And OTA is just an organized team activity, and it's where the NFL does them, where you can do pass pro and runs, and you can throw against each other. You have to be able to take care of each other because there aren't any pads, but you're practicing against someone else, and that's legal to do. And boy, it really gets you ready for game one. When we started doing them at Opelika, your kids are so far ahead because you're filming everything, you're watching it, critiquing it. It just is so different than even my days playing. It's just so different about how you can prepare your team over a summer.
With the things coming forward and everything else, we'll ask another question that we talked about a little bit last week. Have you come up with a preseason game yet?
I haven't. I really want one. I would like it to be run a lot like what we did Friday. 3 quarters and then playing our kids at the end, and maybe no live kicking again, just to keep everybody healthy. That's big, kickoffs and those things. People get banged up on those. But yeah, I'm still searching. I'm going to, exhaust some contacts and figure out if I can find something. But I really want to play somebody before we go into the first regular season game. If we don't, we'll enter squad and figure out how to do, how to get better against each other. But the kids need to play. But at the same time, we need to be healthy going into week 1.
When you look at everything coming up, and you've got the meeting today with the kids coming back in, what's the biggest event between now and through July that you're looking for?
Oh, well, this week is grades. Man, I was cutting grass this morning, and it gives me time to think. And I was thinking about the kids, and I was thinking about my list of guys that I have that we got to get through and do well on these finals, and figure out if any of them need to go to summer school. And so that's kind of the thing on my mind right now. And then obviously making sure they get to practice every morning. We're changing some culture here, and I've said that before, and in the time that we're working out is obviously new. I'm going to be patient with them, but at the same time, if they don't show up or they show up late, they're going to pay for missing. And the accountability has to be there. So that's going to be big, because you teach a lot of discipline when you show up at 6 a.m. every morning. You invest that time, you work out hard early in the morning, and then if you don't show up, you're held accountable for that. That's really big for you as a man. That's huge. It's going to teach you a lot of values. And but yeah, going into July, getting ready, we're going to work on those detail things. We're going to get those grades right. We're going to get kids in the weight room, get stronger. We're going to run and get in shape because we were gassed. We had one guy cramp Friday in the third quarter, a key defensive end that cramped, and that would have been bad in a game. So we got to get in a little better shape. That's going to be the month of June, working on that. And then again, July is going to be focused on getting better, working against some other people, competing, and then just getting ready for August.
Kyle, you have anything else?
I'm sitting here almost feeling sorry for the player that he just pointed out, because man, it got sticky and humid down there late in the third quarter the other night. I'm thinking I'd have been cramping up, but he wasn't the only player. Northview had a couple of players.
Yeah, it's how it is. Early, either in the spring game or early in the season, you can run as much as you want. You can practice as hard as you want to, but you're gonna have some cramps. You got to try and take care of their bodies. They've got to hydrate and eat those bananas and those kind of things. But at the same time, you're going to have those, and you better have somebody ready to go in. And we do. We have a plan for every issue like that. But we got to get in a little better shape so that we can play hard every play. And like I said, just getting back to those detail things, that's going to be big as we go through the summer.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's go off football for just a minute. since we talked last. We have, and your athletic director, you've now got a new basketball coach.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Michael Smith is, he is very well respected in this community. I've gotten to know him now and to talk with him a good bit, and he's just going to bring that discipline, that matches my philosophy and vision, and this whole place's vision of the way athletics should be run. And they've done a good job in the past here. Again, I keep saying Eufaula's not broken. We don't need to take a new step. We just need to take the next step, in a lot of our areas. And that's going to be really big that he comes in, brings a ton of experience, state championship experience. He was a football player at Alabama. That was really exciting to me because that makes him a disciplined person. If you can go through 4 years of school at Alabama and playing football at Alabama, you're a tough guy. And he's also going to help and coach the D-line in football. That's exciting, is that he's a versatile man that filled a couple of needs. We're hoping to get his daughter here, Michaela. I understand she's a rising senior that's a very good basketball player. That would be very good for Coach Deveridge and those guys with girls basketball. But he's going to really do a good job. A lot of our assistant coaches knew him, played for him. Jermeek Clyett is our top assistant. He played for Coach Smith and was really excited to get him back here. I think he'll learn a lot from Coach. But yeah, we're excited about him. We're excited about what he brings to the table as far as discipline and experience, state championship experience, because that's what we want to do. I'm not saying that as lip service. We don't want to just win spring football games, and we don't want to just go to the first round of playoffs and win 7 games. We want to compete for region and state championships here, and I expect to do that in every sport.
One of the things that always tickles me, it's typical 7-day-a-week, Monday morning coaching at the local restaurants. I can go into a local restaurant and with Mark, and we'll have breakfast after he gets off the air. And when we do, it's invariably people come up and they're talking about basketball. They're talking about football. And one of the things that some of these people were saying was, well, we hired a football man to do basketball. And I said, go back and look at his record.
Yeah. Better recheck that.
Recheck that.
I don't know how many football coaches have won 3 state championships in basketball. Yeah, he's going to be exactly what we need here. And he's going to start May the 26th is his first day. He's going to get with his kids. He's already met with the team. And what was cool about it is, first off, when he was board approved, there were a lot of his ex-players that were there. Really good players that he had, and they were just telling those old stories and everything. And then when we had the team meeting for the kids, a lot of the assistant coaches came over from whatever school they're at here in the system and were there to support him. And the kids were really excited. Again, their parents have told them stories about Coach Smith and kind of getting them prepared for what's to come, because again, he's hard-nosed and he's going to bring that edge and that workman's-like mentality, and that's really big. And like I said, his vision for basketball marries up exactly to what I believe in football, and it's going to be a great deal for us.
Well, I'm glad to see that he can help out in football, but I sure am glad to see him here as a basketball coach.
For sure. Yeah, he's going to do a really good job.
Well, thank you very much. Kyle, do you have anything else?
I believe we covered it all. I'm going to get his stats from him here in a minute.
Yeah, I'll get that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Coach. We've enjoyed it. Enjoyed the conversation. Looking forward to another one just as soon as we can.
Yes, sir. Thanks, and go Tigers.
There you go.
Ladies, unlock the cash value in your jewelry box. Sell your gold on Dale Road. We buy gold jewelry, bent or broken, at Eufaula Flea Market, 354 Dale Road.
Sell your gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road. Mr. Pond buys gold on Dale Road. Mr. Pond buys gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road.